Hello everyone, I'm Matt Lucas for Muay Thai Gram. In this episode, you're going to learn 3 things on how to live out here in Thailand long term. This is accompanying a new blog we're putting up, so definitely check that out. I'll leave the link for it in the notes. So also make sure you punch the like and subscribe button. We're putting out more content, focusing more on long-term qualitative content. So make sure to stay tuned in. And if you ever have any questions, we do reply to everyone, or try to at least. So definitely leave us a comment. So the first thing, a little bit of background on me before I go into the 3 tips. I've lived out here in Thailand now for 5 years. I've made 4 trips in total. My first trip out here to Thailand, I came out with just $1,000 for 3 months. I obviously did not budget very well. I got sick. I had to live really, really cheap. I borrowed money from my sibling. Luckily, the experience was enough to make me want to do it again. So I came back, I saved up money, I paid my brother back, and I came back within a year. I turned it around real quick. I knew I wanted it. And the second time I budgeted much better. I budgeted about $3,000 for the 3 months. And that time went much, much better. I just had a better idea of how things cost. It was a lot of trial and error, but I learned. I learned from the experience. The third trip, it was very smooth sailings. I figured everything out. Again, I stayed for 3 months. Everything worked out fine. The thing though is on both the second and third trip, I really wanted to stay longer. But I just didn't know how to, especially economically. I didn't know how to stay here long term. There were a few people that had, but not that many. Some of them were sponsored. Some of them had money coming in from different places. I just didn't know how to survive out here. The last time I came out, I'd saved up money for a long time. I basically made sure that I had a year-long runway for living out here long term. Within that year, I'd gotten a job at Max. I'd started working at FA Group. The ball started rolling for me. I'd also come out very well prepared. It was my 4th trip. I knew these sort of things that I wanted, and I knew when I needed to get them. So it really helped me get my goals. So I want to share some 3 things that will help you get to stay out here long term, because you need to stay out here long term in order to build your career as a Muay Thai fighter. Okay, so tip number 1, you have to think in terms of the baht. You cannot think in terms of the dollar. You are in Thailand, they use the currency of the baht. So, you can, at first you'll always make comparisons. Okay, this pad thai is only $1. Oh, it's so cheap. Oh, it's only $2. Oh, that's so cheap. Back home it's $9. But there is a difference between a 30 baht plate of pad thai and a 60 baht plate of pad thai. The same thing goes for something like, a burger or a motorbike ride or anything. Oh, it's so cheap. It's so cheap. It's so cheap. But when you're making Thai wages, is not necessarily cheap. For instance, a condo out here, a really nice condo off Sukhumvit Avenue in Hoi Quang, where I've lived for some time, is maybe 15,000 baht. That's $500 per month. You get a nice furnished room, a rooftop pool, a fitness studio, there's guards, there's elevators. It's really amazing. It's very bourgeois. But 15,000 baht, $500 a month, is expensive out here. Most people just don't make that much money. According to the National Statistics Office, in 2020, the income for the average Thai was 20,000 baht. So that is a little less than $700. So, and minimum wage, so your 7-Eleven employees, a lot of people out in Isan, the minimum wage is 330 baht per day. So about $10, $11 per day. So if you're thinking about, okay, your monthly average income is maybe $600 and you're staying in a $500 condo, fuck, that's expensive. You need to start thinking economically in terms of the baht. You need to think about how the economy works out here on a daily basis. So the first tip is think about things in terms of the baht. So the second thing is you have to maximize your time out here. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to be training hard all the time, but it means you need to get the most out of your experience. That can be a variety of different things. So when you fight, you obviously need to train hard and you need to get the most out of it. You need to perform well, but it also means you need to be making connections while you're out here. You need to connect with your trainers, your sparring partners, people in media, promoters. You need to be developing your career by maximizing your interactions as well, especially if you're not planning on staying here for a while, or if you're planning on staying here long term, because those people will help you out later in life. One of the big reasons why I got the job at Max Muay Thai was because I'd interviewed Rob Cox, maybe 7 years before I'd actually started working. Then he called me up when I lived out here. Hey, they want an American to commentate at Max Muay Thai. Would you be interested? I said, why not? It was a relationship that I developed a long time ago, and it paid off way down the line. But by doing that early work, I was able to maximize my time out here. So you really need to maximize your time. You need to invest in your team as well, because they're the people that are going to really help you grow. So that is the second one. Maximize your time. The third is you need to cut your costs. So you need to not only get the most value, but you also need to diminish your costs as much. That way you get the most sort of profit of your time. And you have to think about your time out here in terms of a business. We live in capitalism. It's, whatever your thoughts about capitalism are, if you're a Muay Thai fighter, you are in a lot of ways a business of itself. So you need to be thinking in terms of profit, about gains and losses. So you need to minimize your losses. So what does that mean? That means buying a motorbike. Renting gets expensive. I myself was renting a motorbike for a year. So that's a terrible idea. I don't recommend it. I spent way too much money, and then I ended up buying the motorbike when I could have just outright bought a decent motorbike with how much money I put into that bike over a year. You need to figure out a meal plan. So something we talk about in the blog is food pricing. So, a plate of pad thai is 30 to 60 baht. A burger is 150 to 300 baht. So there's some pretty big differences. If you're always eating Western food, your budget is going to really blow up, along with maybe your tummy. The other thing is you need to avoid drinking and partying a lot if you want to minimize your costs. So there are two factors in terms of alcohol and partying. One is that the price of alcohol out here is almost similar to the prices back home in the West. So a bottle of beer or Leo is about 50, 60 baht, $2, $3. So it's the same price as a cheap beer back home. Additionally, if you spend a lot of money drinking, 1,000 baht is going to be a lot of money, especially when your rent is only 5,000 or 6,000 baht. So the other thing is you need to think about ways to spend your time that are low cost. Walks on the beach, motorbikes ride, 24/7 Netflix and chill. You can also maximize your time by doing some online learning or developing skills to help you make money. The longer you stay out here in general, the more knowledge you will have about budgeting, about how much things cost everywhere. So it's really going to help you. The last thing is about sponsorship. Obviously, it's something everyone wants. We're going to be developing a article and some video work about that in the future. So thank you so much for listening and spending your time. Again, the 3 tips. 1, you have to think in terms of the bot. 2, maximize your time. 3, eliminate and reduce your costs as much as you can. So thank you so much. We're hoping to do more content like this in the future. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions, make sure to punch the subscribe button, leave us a comment. Thank you so much.